102 degrees here in the Valley of the Sun, which matches the hottest recorded game in Green Bay Packer history. 1978 in San Diego, Baldy, they played in 102-degree heat as well.
Kenny, I've been to the Amazon, I've been to the equator, I've been to the heat of Brazil. I've never seen it and felt this kind of heat before.
Bill Gramatica kicking off for the Cardinals, taken by Antonio Chapman from the 2-yard line. And the former Arena League star, still on his feet, finally brought down at the 24-yard line, following a return of 22 yards. So Brett Favre leads the Packers offense out. This is 176th consecutive start. He's thrown a league-high 5 picks. And then protecting Favre, Clifton, Wall, Flanagan, Rivera, and Tauscher. Green and Henderson in the backfield. Donald Driver making his return. He and Ferguson the wideouts. Out to the 30-yard line. Lamont Green on first down. Huge game, 160 yards on the ground against the Lions last Sunday. Defensively, Cardinals without Fred Wakefield, suffered his second concussion in as many weeks last Sunday, so Dennis Johnson makes his first NFL start. Thompson, McKinnon, and Fisher, the linebackers. Dexter Jackson, the Super Bowl most valuable player last January with the Tampa Bay Bucks. 3 wide receivers set on 2nd and 4. 5 punt fakes, and then hits the tight end David Martin for a first down, a gain of 8, out to the 38-yard line.
And Kenny, you mentioned that this is the hottest game in Packer history. Brett Favre told us yesterday, growing up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, going to Southern Miss, he said he hates playing in this kind of heat. He said, it's bad enough if you're out there picking weeds and doing yard work, but he said it's unbearable playing football in this kind of weather. So it's something to kind of watch here mentally, how he handles things early in this game.
He said in college they had 3-a-days and they wore all black.
He can't believe he said he stayed playing the game.
Green lost the football. Remember, the Cardinals, no takeaways over the first 2 weeks. And the Packers recover this one.
What happens when you don't have any takeaways is you stop expecting to get takeaways. That's a loose ball. That ball is on the ground, and there's only really one white shirt there. Dexter Jackson diving for it. You know, when you're getting turnovers, you expect it, and you're more alert when that ball is out there.
Packers spread the field with 3 wide receivers. Favre changing the play on 2nd and 10. And Green is hit for a loss. LeVar Fisher quickly into the offensive backfield for a loss of 4 on the play.
And I tell you, Arizona had the perfect blitz on this play. You're going to see LeVar Fisher's coming over here. Safety's coming to take him. And Green Bay ran right into the blitz. So sometimes you just win. Sometimes you just have the right play on. Sometimes you have the right defense on.
Packers must get to the 48-yard line for a first down. 3rd down and 14 from the 33. Favre out of the shotgun. Everybody out. And the pass caught at the 35-yard line, but not nearly enough for a first down. Stopped at the 42-yard line after a 9-yard gain. The tight end, Bubba Franks. Dexter Jackson, Ray Thompson combining on the tackle.
That's a good start, I think, for Arizona. To start, to stop Brett Favre, to stop this machine, a team that scored the first 2 possessions. They had the ball last week. Get them off the field.
Josh Bidwell's first punt of the day is taken at the 7 by the rookie wide receiver, Anquan Boldin. And Boldin takes it up to the 14-yard line. 7 yards on the return following the 51-yard punt by Bidwell. Jeff Blake and the Cardinals when we return. Brett Favre and the Packers offense trying to keep cool in this 102-degree heat in Tempe.
It's hot every day here, isn't it, Ken? I mean, we've been here since Thursday, and it never goes away. I mean, it's just right there on top of you all the time.
Jeff Blake getting used to the Arizona heat. His first season with the Cardinals, suffered a left heel injury in the first quarter last week against Seattle. Emmitt Smith on first down. Emmitt has had great success against the Packers throughout his career. He gains 8 yards on first down. For the Cardinals, right guard Leonard Davis is out today, so Chris Dishman makes the start. Davis out with an ankle injury. Emmitt Smith, James Hodgins in the backfield. A couple of rookie receivers, Bolden and Johnson. And the tight end is the former Charger, Freddie Jones. Movement on the line on 2nd and 3. Cledius Hawks.
Easy now, Nick.
As flags come flying. Mike Carey, our referee today.
Defense unabated to the quarterback, number 97. 5-yard penalty. The enforcement results in a first down.
But in this heat, Kenny, I mean, one of the things that you have to factor in, and it's a factor, it's going to be all day today, is your concentration on both sides of the ball. And right there early, everybody's a little bit jumpy right here, and you try not to think about it, but it forces you to sometimes be a coward and sometimes to do things that you don't want to do.
Automatic first down. Emmitt Smith, flag comes out once again. Emmitt gaining 12 out to the 38 before he was brought down by the strong safety Antoine Edwards, but this one is coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 66. 10 yards, remains first down.
That's the center, Pete Kendall. Defensively for the Packers, Johnson, Gilbert Brown, Cledius Hunt, and KGB, 12 sacks last season. Nick Barnett, the NFL Rookie of the Week, 14 tackles last Sunday. McKenzie and Harris, the corners. Edwards and Sharper are the safeties. 3 wide receivers bunched to the right on first down and 20. Blake to the air for the first time, and the catch is made by Emmitt Smith. Run out of bounds at the 22-yard line after a gain of 6.
And, you know, Jeff Blake right now is here, his first year, and he's without 3 of his top targets right now. Larry Foster, Brian Gilmore, and Casper all out with injuries. And so, really for the first time in the NFL since last year when Arizona did it, they're starting 2 rookie wide receivers. And that kid, Anquan Bolden, Dave McGinnis said it's the best rookie he's had since he coached Mark Carrier in Chicago when he was the league's Rookie of the Year.
Carrier had 10 interceptions as a rookie for the Bears. More movement on 2nd and 14.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, it remains second down.
And Kenny, I saw something that I haven't seen in the NFL in years. In practice on Friday, Arizona was working on a silent count, thinking that the Packer fans that are here, that number of 30 to 40,000, would make a lot of noise and cause you to play like it's an away game. And right there, L.J. Shelton with an early jump, not being able to hear.
Tremendous crowd on hand here at Sun Devil Stadium. I would say about 2/3 wearing green and gold. Second down and 19 following the penalty. Blake dumps it off. It's Emmitt Smith again. His second reception, has some running room, and takes it out to the 27-yard line for a gain of 10. Stopped about 9 yards shy of the marker, setting up 3rd down and 9.
You know, Jeff Blake is really, he's an experienced quarterback, but he's injured. He's got a bad heel. He missed the last 3 quarters last week. He's got it taped up. He's had it injected, but it's painful. And right now, Green Bay is blitzing him. They know that he's not very mobile right now, that he could be in pain. And, you know, when you're injured in this league, they go after injured players. And right now, they've been blitzing him early. That's why that screen worked in the last play.
Emmitt Smith involved in all 3 offensive plays so far. Cardinals send out 4 wide receivers on 3rd down and 9 as Blake fires downfield, and the catch is made in Packer territory by Jason McCadley, a 2nd-year receiver, and he gains 25 yards.
Well, to get 25 yards, you got to hold up front. It's a good job of Emmitt helping out against KGB, doubling him, and now you got to allow McCadley to beat coverage and get down the seam. And Anywhere Jeff Blake goes, everybody will tell you, he throws a great deep ball. He's got a big arm, and then he's pretty accurate down the field with it.
And this is his 4th stop in 5 years. Emmett down to the 45-yard line. Emmitt Smith gaining 3 on first down. Davies and Barnett combining on the tackle.
I think everybody kind of wanted to see just what Emmitt Smith was going to be like in Cardinal red and white. And really, he's the same guy. I mean, he's just as professional as he's ever been. All the coaches will tell you that he's there at 6:30 in the morning. He gave a ripping speech to his teammates after that loss last week and said after losing 38-0 to Seattle, I don't ever want that feeling again here when I'm in Arizona. I think it kind of perked up some young players this week.
Dave McGinnis told us Emmitt's teammates can gain so much from him if they just listen, if they just pay attention. Blake, Bolden, intercepted. Intercepted by the rookie middle linebacker, Nick Barnett. The 10th Cardinal turnover in just 2 games plus 8 minutes. 2nd interception for Barnett. Cardinals turn the ball over on their first 4 possessions last week. They commit an early turnover here today.
Well, Nick Barnett is getting hosed off here, but this hit by Darren Sharper knocked that ball right out of Bolden's hands, and Nick Barnett, showing his speed and how much ground he could cover, comes up with the interception. Good hit by Sharper, forced it.
The 10th Cardinals turnover. Von Green on first down. He lost the football for the 2nd time. And it looks like the Cardinals have their first takeaway of the season.
Well, they repaid the favor with another blasting hit. I mean, Von Green now the 2nd fumble today. But that was the hit that caused it. Oh, yeah, that's a good hit right there by Baron Tanner. Knocked that ball out. Funny, Raynock Thompson told us this week that he went back and studied the other team's defense's turnovers to see how they were causing the turnovers against them. Studied them and said, it's nothing more than a lot of jarring hits like Baron Tanner just put on.
So the Cardinals get the ball right back. And here's Emmett, and he's wrapped up for a loss of 4 by Cledius Hunt.
Quick penetration that time by the 3-technique tackle, Cledius Hunt, right here. Cardinals pull, and that's just a breakdown. Chris Dishman filling in for the right guard, Leonard Davis. Pull that looked like he should have stayed to take it.
Well, Von Green, who had not fumbled in 238 attempts prior to his miscue week 1 against Minnesota, has had his problems early on here in Arizona. 2 fumbles on the first 2 Green Bay possessions. Blake over the middle, and getting back to the original line of scrimmage is the 1st-round pick out of Penn State, Brian Johnson, setting up 3rd down and 10.
But, you know, that's the first Cardinal turnover they've had in 3 games. And, you know, that's something that has plagued this team, not getting enough and giving the ball up too much. But I would expect that the Cardinals should try to capitalize on this, Kenny. I mean, go downtown, take a shot down the field, and see if you can, right away, right after that turnover, go and challenge that defense. You know, inject some life within the team and the organization with the fans.
Blake out of the shotgun. Cardinals must get to the 29 for a 1st down. Blake steps up and throws to a wide open Anquan Bolden. Inside the 10, inside the 5, reaching across. No signal yet from the officials. Looks like he was down at about the 1-yard line.
Kenny, they never cover the best receiver on the team. Watch this. Anquan Bolden goes in motion. Nobody goes with him. Bolden is over here in the slot. There's the hole. He comes in the middle here. Nobody covers the best receiver for the Cardinals. Inexcusable defensive breakdown by the Packers. This kid has got lower body strength now. You can't tell sometimes when they're in pads, but he's going to break a lot of tackles. And plus, he's a punt returner, so he has the vision of a punt returner.
timeout called by the Packers. It'll be 1st and goal from about the 1.5-yard line for the Arizona Cardinals, following the 38-yard pass play from Blake to Bolden. 1st and goal for the Cardinals, who have allowed 52 consecutive points to their opponents since they last scored. Emmitt Smith, the lone back. Blake looking end zone and dives across for the touchdown.
Pretty good play action fake here. Holding the linebackers right into the line. Emmitt Smith going for another record touchdown run. Only one receiver he's covered, and Blake with a bad heel. 12 years in the league. I don't know the last time that he's done a flip. Just watching and talking to Jeff Blake on Friday, didn't he seem happier and more relaxed than he's been in a while? I mean, he seemed like this is a good place for him after a lot of stops and well-traveled. Seems to be enjoying the youth of this team and the fire of Dave McGinnis.
Certainly is. Gramatica adds the point after. Blake over the top into the end zone for an Arizona Cardinals lead. Back in Tempe, Cardinals with the 7-0 lead, a 4-play, 39-yard drive. The key play on 3rd and 10. 38-yard pass from Blake to Anquan Bolden.
Well, Bolden is a huge surprise here, 2nd-round pick. And he looks like about an 8-year veteran that's been to a few Pro Bowls.
Kickoff taken at the 6 by Antonio Chapman, using the Tony Fisher block, and then is brought down at the 21-yard line by LeVar Woods. So the Packers back on offense when we come back. It was catched by Bolden, made it all the way down to the 1, and then Blake dove across for the touchdown. Back in Tempe, Kenny Albert with Brian Baldinger, Kevin McCabe holding the sidelines, trying to stay cool, we hope. Packers start from their own 21-yard line. Give to Ahman Green, out to the 28, gain of 7. Brian, how did the Packers prepare this week for the Arizona Heat?
Well, look at them. I mean, they cut down in practice, okay, to get the guys off their feet. They started drinking water, extra Gatorade, getting all the fluids in the system. You want to be completely saturated when you get here. Then they practiced inside the Hudson Center, right there at the facility, turned up the heat there to kind of simulate the conditions. And then they hired some extra trainers. You know, and then they got tubes sticking down guys' shirts just to try and give them a little bit of a breeze in there.
Here's Green, and he is hit back at the 27-yard line for a loss of 1. As we check in once again with Kevin McCabe. Kevin?
Hey, sorry guys, I had to dab my forehead. It's getting a little shiny already. You talked about the Packers trying to stay hydrated. They also brought in these air conditioning units, shoving these things inside their jerseys, trying to, ooh, that's nice, trying to stay cool. Anything they can do to stay cool, but I think right now they're hot for obvious reasons. They're down 7-0, guys.
Very good job, Kevin. We'll monitor you as well.
And then you look on the Cardinals sideline, no tubes, no fans, no air conditioning devices.
You know, you can do too much. You can begin to psych yourself out every time you come off the field.
We're down in 3. Packers keep it on the ground with Green. And he is close to a first down. We'll check out the spot from the officials.
Ahman Green is such a patient runner, but the other thing is, outside of the fact that he does put the ball on the ground, he squares his shoulders. Watch him here. He squares up. Now, when he squares the shoulders up, he gets all his power going north-south. It's a vector. Remember physics, vectors, you know, there are angles. It's all about angles, and when he squares his shoulders, he's going north-south with all that power.
I didn't do too well in physics.
Well, I didn't either. I just heard about it, you know, and then I had some people that tutored me. But yeah, that's a vector. You want to get your vectors going straight, and that's what his shoulders do.
Looks to be just short.
Well, we got the Packers saying it's a first down, but Mike Carey says that it's short, but this is early in the game. I think it's too dangerous to risk right now.
Mike Sherman agrees as he sends out the punter, Josh Bidwell.
That's another good stop by the Cardinals.
That's as close as you can get.
Yeah, really, because it just touches that last link there. You know, the stick. It's a first down.
So,
you know, in this game, Kenny, however you can get off the field, whoever gets off the field, you're getting rest, you're getting your defenses keeping their legs fresh. You're dictating the tempo of this game. You've got to get off as quickly as you can.
So Bidwell will punt for the second time. His first punt, 51 yards. High snap. Gets it away. Taken at the 25 by Bolden. Tony Fisher brings him down at the 30-yard line. 45-yard punt, 5 yards on the return as we check in for the first time this afternoon with James Brown. JB.
All right, an attempted fair catch by the Rams' Arlen Harris. He fumbles it. Orlando Huff recovers in the end zone for a 7-0 Seattle lead, but the Rams answer back. Mark Bulger on the keeper, taking it in to pay dirt, and it's all knotted in Seattle at 7. That's the scoring. Back to Kenny Albert. And Brian, I did get my swim in this week, buddy.
Way to go, JB. And I tell you, I'm not calling any team special teams until they show me they're special. After last week with the block kicks and the Giants on Monday night, you got to earn that right to be called special teams.
On first down from the 30, Emmitt Smith up the middle. And he is close to a first down. Emmitt off to a good start here in quarter number 1.
Well, you know, he's playing with the lead right now. They're able to give it to him. I mean, this is classic Emmitt, just a fullback lead right here. I mean, it's no different than him running behind Moose Johnson on those Cowboy teams. Just a big hole. Oh, and watch the rookie here, Antoine Edwards. Yeah, I tell you, that is a physical player. I saw him do that to defensive end at Detroit last week, Robert Porcher. Not afraid to mix it up.
Emmitt did pick up the first down. But this time is wrapped up for a loss of 2 by Nick Barnett.
What Barnett showed Packer fans a lot and around the league last week. He was the NFC Rookie of the Week. He had 14 tackles in his first interception. He was the first linebacker drafted in the NFL last year. He's starting in the middle. The Packers have been trying to find a middle linebacker now for about 5 or 6 years. He's right here in the middle. And I tell you, he plays deep. He plays about 5 yards deep, but he's very explosive. And when he sees the ball, there's very little that can stop him from getting to it.
Now second down and 12, empty backfield. Blake is 5 for 6 so far in the air. And this one is dropped. McCadley, who made that 25-yard reception earlier, could not hang on to this one.
He tried to body catch it, and it hit him. I could hear the thump in the chest from up here. That means that Blake, and we talked to the defensive coaches of Green Bay about him. In fact, Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator of Green Bay, said that he was on that New York Jets coaching staff when he was a rookie in the league, and he said he'd throw the ball. So far, he thought that he would never come down. And so not only can he throw it far, he can also throw it hard.
Blake, a 6th-round pick of the Jets back in '92, then spent 6 seasons in Cincinnati. 3 wide receivers, and Blake calls timeout. Cardinals have had some trouble hanging on to their timeouts over the first 2 weeks, Brian.
Well, you know, the offensive coordinator is Jerry Sullivan. It's his first year of doing that. He's upstairs. He's got to get the play from upstairs down to his quarterback coach, Jeep Chris, and then out to the quarterback, Jeff Blake. So there's an intermediate step. And then it's hard not to look at that. How'd they pass security with that towel on their face like that? It's better than sunblock, I guess.
Cheeseheads all over Sun Devil Stadium. Now, Brian, we brought our own cheese.
When do you bring the eggs out? When do you start scrambling the omelet?
That's just 20 minutes later.
Yeah. See, that's what happens to your brain. That's what happens to your brain when you let the heat. If you don't have a block of cheese on your head and it just hits your head. That's what can do to your brains. It can scramble your brains like that. You got to cover yourself up.
How do the Cardinals practice in this heat all season long?
It always amazes me. I guess you get used to it. I don't believe that. But I'd love to be the guy that invented that block of cheese. I'd like to have some royalties on that.
Third down and 12 for the Cardinals. Blake dumping it off. Marcel Shipp, penalty marker. As Shipp gains just 2 yards back to the original line of scrimmage. Mike Carey sorting things out.
Mike Carey said that he was hydrating himself on Wednesday, getting ready for the heat.
He's used to it. He's from San Diego. He should be used to this stuff.
Not like this. No ocean breezes here in the Valley of the Sun.
Pass interference. Offense, number 85. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Freddie Jones guilty of it. Dave McGinnis told us that this climatization to the heat starts at training camp up in Flagstaff. They come off the mountain. They start practicing really late at night and early in the morning, and they keep moving it up and back to the point where they're practicing in the heat of the day, so they gradually get the players used to it.
Here's Scott Player, punting for the first time, taken at the 21 by Antonio Chapman, and brings it back 13 yards to the 34. LeVar Fisher, the stop on special teams. Well, next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader, beginning with America's #1 pregame show. 49ers take on the Vikings, and then it's the Lions and the Broncos, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. The biggest stories are in the NFC, and the NFC is on
Fox. And I tell you, Minnesota is making a statement. You know, they just won their 3rd divisional game in a row today against Detroit, 3-0. You know, who would have thought that Green Bay would be looking up at Randy Moss and the Vikings this early in the season like that?
Especially when the Packers finished 6 games ahead of Minnesota in 2002. Robert Ferguson makes the catch for a gain of 10. Clock stops with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, Favre was, finally got the ball out to a wide receiver here in this game. And he said, let's get ready for the switch. Let's get to the second quarter. He's telling his team there. He's going to get himself a little water and get rested, try and continue this series.
Each team committed a turnover in the first quarter. Yes, the Cardinals forced a turnover, and they capitalized. Jeff Blake into the end zone from 1 yard out. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Packers continue to try and keep cool here in the 102-degree heat.
See, we stumbled on the word cool, huh? It's hard to get that out of your mouth in this today.
It's hot up here as well, high above Sun Devil Stadium. Only 9 yards in the first quarter for Amon Green. Takes this one out to midfield, a gain of 6, but a penalty marker. It's against the Packers.
That's their favorite play that they just ran. Called a power O.
Holding. Offense number 33. 10-yard penalty remains, 1st down.
William Henderson is the trail blocker on this power O. They pull the left guard. They're going to pull the left guard here, but here's William Henderson coming in. He gets a block on Adrian Wilson right there, and he collared him. It's a difficult thing when that defensive player is going down to take the block on, and you're coming in to block him, and your hand gets caught. And it happens a lot. You don't feel like you're holding, but the result looks like you are.
Loss of 10. Now 1st down and 20 as Favre swings it out to Green. Out of bounds after a gain of just 4, setting up 2nd and 16.
Yeah, Kenny, I was watching the tape of Arizona lose to Seattle last week, 38-0 on Tuesday. And I said, oh, they just must have gotten crushed. But they played great defense in the first half up until the final 2 minutes, and they were down 17-0 because of the turnovers by the offense. But this was a group that was flying to the football. They were gang tackling. They stopped the run against Seattle early, and they're doing the same thing here today to Brett Favre and this machine.
Over the first 2 weeks, Cardinals had more first downs than their opponents, more total yards, and a 6.5-minute edge in time of possession. A little shovel pass by Favre to Green. The Packers really like that play.
Well, Tom Rossley, the offensive coordinator, said that that's really a run. Now, it's in the record books, in the stats, it's a pass. But it's also a very good run for them because it involves angle blocking by the offensive line. That means linemen are blocking down and getting good angles on the defensive line. Watch this. These guys are going to be blocking down here. You see, you don't have to block very far. You just have to open up this hole here by blocking down. So it really fits into the blocking scheme of what they like to do.
Packers have to get to the Cardinal 46. Penalty marker. Play was blown dead prior to the snap.
There was no play. False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty remains third down.
That is his 4th false start of the season. Chad Clifton, the left tackle.
Well, you know, Chad Clifton, of course, was injured last year with that devastating hit by Sapp. And, you know, he missed most of training camp. He's kind of playing his way back into this thing right here. And I don't care how many games you've played. If you missed a lot of time and you come back in, you're not as sharp. And he hasn't been as sharp mentally early in the season right now.
And Mike Sherman feels that he's had problems concentrating on the snap count. 3rd down and 13. Packers 0 for 2 on 3rd down today. Tony Fisher brought down by Dexter Jackson, about 3 yards shy of the marker.
Well, when you put any team, including a Brett Favre offense, in the 3rd and long situations, you just early in the game don't want to take any chances with the ball down the field. And Mike Sherman is frustrated because they're beating themselves right now with the penalties, and they're not allowing the offense to work for them.
And this time it's Bryant Johnson back deep, not Anquan Bolden. And Johnson calls for a fair catch back at the 13-yard line. 37-yard punt by Bidwell. Packers not doing much offensively. They trail by a touchdown. Some of the many Green Bay Packer fans on hand here in Tempe, Arizona.
Those fans travel. They travel as well as any group of fans in this league. That's the only way they can see the Packers. They can't get a season ticket there.
Waiting list 80,000 up in Lambeau. On 1st down, Evan Smith leading his hunt.
Well, if you're going to play against Green Bay's defense, you got to know where number 94 KGB is. And that time in the run, they try to control him with a fake reverse. They got to control this guy in the running game and in the passing game. Here he is. That time Anthony Clement swallowed him up pretty good, but he is very fast, and he can put his body in like a contortionist. I mean, he could get himself out of holds that Houdini couldn't get out.
Brian, Cardinals have gotten the ball to Emmett on 8 of their 15 offensive plays. All 3 wide receivers shifting to the right side.
I haven't seen a shift, and that shift took a long time, didn't it?
McCadley, Bolden, and Johnson. And the Cardinals forced to use their 2nd timeout just 3 minutes in, 2nd quarter.
Look at the Cardinals. We're going to throw a formation at the Packers they've never seen before. They take that and shift it all the way to the other side of the field. And they had to call a timeout. They gave away a pretty good-looking play, maybe.
And following the timeout on 2nd and 10, Evan Smith crosses the 15 out to the 16, gain of 3. So it will be a 3rd down and 7.
Well, the new offensive coordinator for Arizona is Jerry Sullivan, who is a well-respected wide receiver coach for years in this league. Here's Jerry back in the corner. And, I mean, Bill Parcells wanted him to be the wide receiver coach in Dallas, and Mike Martz called him, and he really kind of thought about both those situations, but he had such a loyalty to Dave McGinnis for bringing him here that he agreed to become the offensive coordinator. As we take a look at KGB, their best pass rusher, down on the ground. You know, the Packers have really been riddled by injuries. They've got 13 players on injury reserve, you know, this early in the season right now. He said that he can get his body into all kinds of positions. time, it looked like Emmett bent his neck back when he made the tackle. Could have been a stinger or something like that. I can't speculate from up here. But he is up and moving around. He took that shot, the brunt of Emmett coming right at him, I think, as it whipped his neck back. The Green Bay Packers, they had 8 defensive linemen active today for the first time, so Jamal Reynolds gets his first action of the season. They'll be rotating 8 of them, trying to keep them as fresh as possible.
Reynolds, a former first-round draft pick out of Florida State, who's not lived up to expectation.
That's one of the tests that the medical staff will do for a stinger to see if you still have strength in your shoulders. If you do, they'll put him back in.
3rd down and 7 for the Cardinals. Blake looking for Johnson, tipped a couple of times, nearly intercepted. And the Cardinals will punt once again.
Well, that's how a lot of the interceptions have happened for Arizona this year. They get Bryant Johnson, the first-round pick, over that middle, and Monday night game, Joe Jurevicius did the exact same thing, turned around and tipped it to himself and caught it. But in the open field, that is dangerous. That ball normally gets intercepted.
Baldinger had a shot at it. Antonio Chapman back deep. Players punt. Chapman back pedals to the 29. He hesitated and then started upfield. Brings it back 10 yards out to the 39 before he was brought down by Emmanuel McDaniel. 56-yard punt by Player. In your area.
Well, normally Brett Favre would be a good one to play. I mean, he's 6 for 6 early in this game, but nothing down the field so far.
Favre throwing on first down, make it 7 for 7. As the catch is made by Donald Driver, returning after that scary injury suffered just 2 weeks ago.
I'll tell you, and that is a huge relief. You look at the smile on Donald Driver's face. You could come back from an injury. That was a devastating injury, getting flipped upside down, landing, you know, on his neck and his chest, spending 2 nights in a hospital, cutting the face mask off of his helmet there, you know, so they could breathe and talk. But that first catch and a hit, that's a huge relief to a receiver suffering an injury.
2nd down and 2. As Green takes it up to the 49-yard line and has a first down.
Well, injury week 1, I mean, he went way up. You know, he was a high jumper in college. And he came down right there, right on his neck, his chest. He was actually knocked out. He was blacked out, unconscious for a while. Doesn't remember the play. But I mean, in 2 short weeks, he's back out on the field. He said that he got that taste of Hawaii last year, that trip to the Pro Bowl, and he wants that trip every year.
So does his wife. Said his wife wants to go back. Favre still perfect. Another first down again to Amon Green. Wrestled out of bounds by David Barrett after a gain of 14.
Well, you know, you think of Brett Favre, you think of the deep ball, you think of that strong arm, and so far this year, that's been the one thing missing from this offense, is probably too many interceptions and nothing down the field. Right now, I mean, he's hot, he's got a rhythm, but he even said this team needs to find its identity. And right now, I think they're struggling with that a little bit.
Longest pass this year, 24-yard touchdown to Javon Walker. From the Cardinals 36, the pitch to Tony Fisher. And he gains 5 down to the 31. Najee Davenport had some trouble hanging on to the football last week, so we've seen a dose of Fisher here in the first half before Davenport.
Well, we asked the coaches about that in our meetings. You know, we had to always have that private meeting with the coaches and the players and allow them to kind of relax and talk about the game plan, what happened during the week and last week. And we were a little surprised to see not Najee out here in that second row, backing up Amon Green because of those turnovers last week.
Tony Fisher in his second year out of Notre Dame. Empty backfield on 2nd and 5. Favre punt fake. And now throws, and a diving catch is made by Fisher down at the 9-yard line. 23 yards from Favre to Fisher.
Well, there's that 25-yard pass. I mean, that's the first one this year, right, Kenny? Just said that he's been 0 for 7. Well, 23, is that right? All right, look at this layout here by Donald Driver. And he thought that he was going to be a little gun-shy going over the middle. That's a linebacker covering him, Raynot Thompson. Hung in there to the very end.
First and goal from the 9. Up the middle, down to the 5-yard line. Amon Green gains 4. Setting up second and goal from the 5.
Favre was hot. I mean, he's hot, and then he's accurate today. Hasn't forced any balls, and I think early in the season, he said that we don't get a chance to play very much in the preseason, and maybe we should worry less about injuries and more about getting the timing down, and he's finding that rhythm now.
On second and goal, here's Green. And he's forced back by Dennis Johnson, making his first NFL start, along with the rookie out of Wake Forest, Calvin Pace.
Well, this is always kind of Bubba Frank's territory, isn't it? I mean, most of his touchdown catches, this part of the field, a big target. We're minus Wesley Walls, who they signed this offseason, or during the preseason, they're high on. The hamstring injury would have been another good target. But this is his area. Big guy, 6'6", big reach. Favre kind of likes him here.
15 career touchdowns for Franks, none longer than 6 yards. Favre looking end zone, lobs it up to the other tight end, David Martin, for the touchdown. Using Franks as a decoy, it's Martin in the corner of the end zone for his first touchdown of the season.
Well, they tackled Bubba Franks and they sat on him, so Favre didn't have a choice but to go to David Martin. Watch Franks here. He runs that 6-yard route you're talking about. Little 6-yard stick route. Watch him. That's a tackle. One way to take him out of the route.
Second career touchdown for Martin. He scored one last year. The extra point is good. Ryan Longwell connecting. So Brett Favre starts the game 10 for 10. 96 yards and a touchdown pass to Martin. Brian, how about Brett Favre's career numbers in the red zone?
Well, like the rest of his career, it's just been incredible. And how accurate he's been, how he can find his open receivers, he keeps himself alive, and he's productive. I mean, very productive.
Brian Johnson on the return out to the 26. For Brett Favre, 318th touchdown pass of his career, third on the all-time list behind Marino and Tarkenton. An 8-play, 61-yard drive, culminating with the third career touchdown for the tight end David Martin.
Well, he sees Bubba Franks getting tackled, so, Brett said that nobody's been in this offense in the Green Bay building longer than me. I know this thing. I can coach the coaches, and sometimes he has to do that. So when you said, okay, where's the other guy, Brett, when you tackle your lead receiver? He knows where everybody is at on every play.
Now the Cardinals start from their own 26-yard line. Wait, the throw on first down. And it's incomplete. As we check in once again with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny and Brian, take a look at Mark Baldinger trying to solidify the job as a starting quarterback, hooking up with Isaac Bruce on a slant pattern, 14-7 Rams. And then, after spotting the Redskins a 3-0 lead, it's Kerry Collins hooking up with Ike Hilliard. They lead at 7-3. Hey, Brian, tell the guys to leave me alone here. I'm eating my good diet food. They're all on my case. Back to you guys.
JB, just show them the tape measure. It's falling off you right now. A couple of days here in Arizona, you'll be back to just a stick figure.
Emmett Smith on second and 10, he fumbled. Emmett lost the football. James Hodgins, the fullback, former St. Louis Ram, on the recovery.
Always interesting to watch Emmett. I mean, it's one of those things after watching him for 14 years. Always has the ball in his left hand. I mean, if you're a defensive guy and you want to try and get it out of there, and it's hard to pry it out of Emmett's hands, that's where it's at, though, most plays. Just comfortable with that ball in the left hand.
I think the Cardinals actually gained an extra yard or two on the fumble.
That still sets up a 3rd and 7 or 8 here. Look for Anquan Bolden.
Easy.
Blake is looking for Bolden, but threw it out of bounds.
Well, after those first two series of Arizona, Green Bay has settled in. And what I saw from Green Bay last week and now, as this game goes on, is great pass coverage. They brought in Al Harris to solidify the right corner. He's done that. Had an interception for a touchdown last week. And Nick Barnett in the middle, for a young guy, really seems to understand the passing game.
Scout player from his own 20-yard line. Taken at the 21 by Chapman. And he's brought down after a return of just 3 yards by Kobe Reinhardt. So another opportunity for Brett Favre and the Packer offense. Just moments after they tied the game at 7. Well, this fall, 8 teams will compete to see what will be this year's historic moment. Who will make the next unforgettable play, and what team will take home baseball's ultimate prize? Fox Sports brings you baseball's Division Series and then becomes the exclusive home to the Championship Series and World Series. It all begins September 30th, a week from Tuesday, right here on Fox.
And we got 3 really good races down the stretch. Watched little Phillies and Marlins this week, and it looked like the playoffs had already begun.
Packers start from the 25. Lamont Green out to the 31-yard line, a gain of 6. Last time I was here, 2 years ago, Sun Devil Stadium, Bob Brenly, our former colleague at Fox, brought the World Series trophy up here to the booth.
Sure, the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees right here, Game 7. Knocked out Mariano Rivera there in the 9th inning, as dramatic as it got. Joe Buck was calling the action that day for us at Fox, and will be this fall.
Second down and 4. Pitch to Green. And Lamont picks up the first down out to the 39-yard line.
You know what Green Bay's got going on right now, Kenny? They've got balance. And I see Marco Rivera, the right guard, who has been really playing a martyr's role with a bad left knee, is down right now. He injured himself in preseason. Got a torn medial collateral ligament in that left knee, and here he is here on the pull. Great cut block, and I think he tripped. He tripped over, his own man tripped over. William Henderson actually stepped on his leg going past him. His leg was laying out there, and William Henderson hit it as he trailed it. And Marco Rivera, who went to the Pro Bowl last year, first Packer lineman to do that in a long time. I mean, he'll be back in it. What they'll do is they'll move Mark Tauscher, the right tackle, and the right guard, and Kevin Barry is in at right tackle.
Kevin Barry, University of Arizona product. He's used to this heat.
Well, how about those Arizona teams? Arizona State, University of Arizona. I mean, talk about some college teams that are going through some tough times. There's the replacement there. Tauscher and Barry now on the right side.
Tauscher at right guard, Barry at right tackle. Off the play fake. Remember, Favre is 10 for 10. Now 10 for 11, as Donald Driver could not come up with it. Favre had completed his last 14 in a row. If you take it back to last week, completed his last 4 against Detroit. First 10 today, and that 14 straight completions for Favre ties his personal record.
Well, look at this, the play selection now. I mean, this is what Mike Sherman is aiming for. More rushes and passes like they had last week against Detroit. You know, and then look at the breakdown of when they win, when they lose. When Brett has to throw it 40 times, he said, going back to Mike Holmgren days, if I have to throw it 50 times, we're not going to win the games most of the time.
Second and 10, he got it away quickly to William Henderson, the fullback, inside the Cardinals 40. Got rid of it quickly, and Henderson gains 22 yards.
William Henderson just cheating out of the backfield. Right here, just going to have a little circle route. They call that 22 Texas. 22 Texas is through the fullback, and it's the first play you learn in this offense. About the simplest, most basic route that they dial up.
And Brian Dexter Jackson made the tackle, and he's shaken up.
Again, got hit by his own man as he was flying over the pile to make that tackle.
Dexter Jackson signed a 5-year deal here in Arizona after he was named Most Valuable Player in the Super Bowl following the Buccaneers' victory over the Raiders. And Jackson's still down.
Well, the one thing he said about playing in Tampa is he said it hurts to be great. There is a tremendous price to pay to be the Super Bowl champions. He learned that under John Gruden. And he came here to add some juice to this defense. A guy that brought a winning spirit and attitude to the team. After that David Martin touchdown, Dexter Jackson was not happy. Almost looked like he wanted to go after a couple of his players.
You know, the other thing Dexter told us in our meeting with him on Friday, Brian, he said the biggest difference between Tampa Bay and Arizona, in Tampa I was one of the youngest, here I'm one of the oldest.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's in his 5th year, one of the oldest players. You know, Arizona is the youngest team in the league, and that's what he was referring to.
2 tight ends set for the Packers. From the 39, Tony Fisher, big burst, down to the 30, gain of 9.
The other thing that Green Bay, when they have balance in the moving of football, and you can see the difference here, completely dominating the second quarter. When you dominate that quarter like they are right now, you know, you're keeping Arizona's defense on the field, you're wearing them down. And then Brett Favre obviously has a good rhythm today. And although he struggled in the heat, doesn't like it, he seems to be enjoying it today.
Also gives the Packer defense some time to rest.
Sure. All those things factor in the second half.
Favre on 2nd and 1, in trouble. Calvin Pace, Favre got rid of it. It was wrapped up by Pace, Baron Tanner there as well. And Favre able to throw it away.
Well, you know, Arizona is one of the few teams in the league not to have a sack, and they were close here. And it's hard to get Favre down because gets away from Calvin Pace there, the rookie. Calvin Pace thought that he was going to get his first sack. He said that if he gets one, he wasn't sure how he was going to celebrate. He said, probably go back and try to catch my breath and do it again.
That's right. He told us he'd probably be too tired to celebrate.
Only team, the Vikings and the Cardinals, only 2 teams in the league without a sack.
And the Cardinals last in the league in sacks each of the last 2 seasons. Green picks up the first down with Marco Rivera back in at right guard for the Packers. LeVar Fisher slow to get up.
There's been a lot of hitting in this game, and that's Marco Rivera. Talked about that. He's playing without a ligament in his left knee. Could have had surgery, would have ended the season, but you know, he went to the Pro Bowl last year. He's the senior member of that offensive line, and he gives them a lot of leadership. Plus, he's just a good player, especially in space. As much as they pull their guards, he's very good at it.
Rivera was the first Packer offensive lineman to go to the Pro Bowl in 19 years. And we are told he took a knee to the head earlier.
Okay.
That is why he left the game. Looked as if Green picked up the first down, but Mike Carey calls for the change. And he did. I know how Mike Carey keeps cool on a day like this. You know, we mentioned he's from San Diego. All he has to do is think about his day job.
Yeah.
You know what Mike does for a living?
What is it?
Sells ski equipment in San Diego.
Okay. Well, just think cool thoughts then up in the mountains, or the buttes, as they call it around here.
Talk about an oxymoron. Yeah. Selling ski equipment in San Diego.
San Diego. There's some mountains over there on the West Coast someplace.
2 tight ends on first down. Favre with time. And it's intended for Driver. David Barrett, the right corner, got a piece of.
Hey, you're talking about snow ski equipment, right? I mean, I know they water ski in San Diego, but you're talking about snow ski equipment is what it says.
It is snow ski equipment.
Okay, just checking. Not enough of that out here today. And I tell you, as the guy that used to come here every year when I was playing in Dallas and in Philadelphia, I mean, literally, you try to conserve every ounce of energy. Even that walk from the locker room to the field, you try to make it as slow as possible, and you only do it once.
2nd and 10. Green. Ray Thompson made the tackle, no gain on the flight. Dexter Jackson's return is questionable. Suffered a bruised left thigh when making that tackle moments ago. As we hit the 2-minute warning here in Tempe, 102 degrees at kickoff. Packers and the Cardinals are tied at 7.
Too, because we've been melting cheese here, just kind of demonstrating the strength and power of the sun. And no frozen tundra here. They're never going to confuse that here in Tempe.
Tundra never freezes here.
No.
Third down and 10. 3 wide receivers set. Favre dumping it off. Mon Green goes down about 1 yard shy of the marker. So Mike Sherman sends out the field goal unit.
Brett Favre, who had thrown interceptions in the final 2 minutes of the first 2 games. Guilty, he said, of forcing the ball in there. He said, you know, I should just check it down. Check it down to Amon, get the yards, don't have to try to be too creative too early in these games.
Packers with the huge edge, second quarter time of possession. 40-yard attempt for Longwell. And the Packers take their first lead of the afternoon. Longwell good from 40. Now 10-7 Green Bay.
Here's the interceptions we're talking about against Minnesota. A real breakdown with him and Donald Driver in the end zone. And then last week against Detroit, threw this one into traffic. And maybe that's why Green Bay there on that third down wasn't more aggressive and just took the easy yards to Amon Green, set up that field goal.
Brian, to put it in perspective, last season Favre did not throw his 5th interception until game number 10.
Yeah.
This year, picked off 5 times over the first 2 games, which leads the entire NFL.
You know, and talking to him yesterday, you know, in a private meeting with him and seeing how relaxed he was, he wasn't worked up about it. And I think he's just one of those guys. I mean, every game in this league right now is so magnified, especially now in September. It's so early. Everybody's saying, well, Buffalo and Minnesota and all these teams, and it doesn't mean anything in September. And I think he understands how long the season is. And that interceptions now, as they try to find their identity and get a rhythm, sometimes it's not going to be the most costly thing in the world. He certainly isn't beating himself up over it. Green Bay here with an unusual look. See if they get to the line of scrimmage before they kick it. They're not really getting all the ball there.
It's Josh Scobie.
Oh, he's on the line.
Yeah, he's on the goal line. Yes, it looks like he's on the goal line.
Yeah, that foot looked like it hit the goal line. And the Green Bay Packer fans here know it.
Although the ball carrier's foot was out of the end zone, the ball was in the end zone, down for a touchback.
Good explanation by Mike Carey.
Mike saw it right away. I mean, he's down there on the end zone line. See, the foot does touch.
Let's see if the ball crosses the plane. Hard to tell from that angle.
Well, you can't see the ball and where it is with the line.
And here in Tempe, we hear the boos from the Packer portion of the crowd.
Yeah.
Cardinals only 1 timeout remaining. They have already used 2. Starting from their own 20-yard line. Inside handoff to Emmitt Smith out to the 24. Gain of 4. Hannibal Navies made the tackle.
Yeah, Green Bay, who has 2 timeouts remaining. I think they just called the timeout. They did. And they'd like to try to get the ball back. And why wouldn't you? With Favre is the rhythm that he has today, and try and see if they can do something with it.
So each team with 1 remaining timeout. Packers fell behind 7-0. Now lead 10-7 with thousands and thousands of Packer fans in attendance here in Arizona. Wonder how our cheese is doing, Brian.
Well, I think let's take a look. That's at 12:30 here in the West Coast, half hour before kickoff. Looked like it's standing up there pretty good. It didn't, of course, it's not going to last very long in this kind of heat like that. See, the only cheese holding up right now is the Lambeau Field cheese.
Cardinal long snapper Nathan Hodel, not a big fan of the cheese as he kicked it away.
Well, what I was trying to show is that the Green Bay Lambeau Field cheese is holding up here in the heat. And I think that they had that in the icebox there. Coming from the frozen tundra, you would expect it to have a little better hold-up value.
Yes, we kept it refrigerated along with Kevin McCabe.
Yeah. I wonder how many are going to get in there at halftime today.
2nd and 6. Brian Johnson, first down, heading for the sidelines to stop the clock, and he does. Was flying over the bench.
Brian Johnson, the first-round pick, he's got to do a better job of negotiating that bench. You know, you expect first-round picks and athletic guys to be able to just sort of leap over that thing. He takes a pretty good tumble.
You know, Donald Driver, former high jumper, would have hurdled the bench.
Well, he almost ended up in the trash can. You can't end up in the trash can. You got to get back out on the field.
Perhaps you thought it was an ice bucket.
Maybe that's what he was looking for.
From the 38-yard line with exactly 1 minute remaining in the half, 4 wide receivers. And Blake's throw is caught by Bolden. What a catch down at the Packers' 40-yard line.
Yeah, they're going to hurry up here. I mean, that was a great throw. And again, Bolden in traffic is money. That is a great catch and great coverage.
And now Blake stops the clock.
Wow.
Bolden twisting and turning and somehow able to reach back and make the catch.
Well, it's a stick throw by Blake, a gutty throw in traffic, and to have Bolden go back. And, you know, he is their feature receiver here in his 3rd NFL game. And already players are starting to talk about him, the impact of guys like Randy Moss and what they did in their rookie year, mentioning those kind of names with him.
What did Jeff Blake tell us? He said Bolden, a natural football player. Blake pump fakes, throws. Brian Johnson makes the catch, brings it down to the 15-yard line of Green Bay. Cardinals do have 1 timeout, now
Blake's
down to 20 seconds.
He should take a shot to the end zone here. Don't kill it. No, don't waste a play. You should run the play there. Green Bay, who had called a timeout on 1st down when this drive first started, thought they might have a chance of getting the ball back. And Jeff Blake, who has gotten protection here on this drive, has made some great throws.
And by using that timeout, the Packers have given the Cardinals some extra time on the clock.
Well, that, and they allowed the Cardinals now to use their final timeout. And they should take some shots to the end zone. They shouldn't run anything underneath where they're tackled in bounds. Either to the sideline or to the end zone is where they should go with the ball.
And now Blake forced to waste the Cardinals' last timeout. And the offensive linemen are furious.
Yeah.
They are just furious that the Cardinals have wasted their final timeout. Did you see the reaction from Kendall and Dishman?
It's inexcusable after the timeout not to have the play in the right play. And they've had problems now with Jerry Sullivan upstairs getting the plays in on time, and then the communication of the plays. The other thing is they've got a lot of young receivers, Ken, and so they're digesting a lot of stuff early in the season, and they're expecting, and they're putting a lot of expectations on Brian Johnson and Anquan Bolden.
Let's take a look back at the reaction of the offensive line after Blake called timeout.
Cameron Spikes wasn't happy, the left guard, and
Chris Dishman. So the Cardinals have no timeouts remaining. Brian, those rookie receivers talked about, Bolden and Johnson have combined for 104 yards on 5 receptions in the first half.
Yeah, you know, and that's why you got to play your young guys. I mean, they're forced to because of the injuries that we mentioned early in this game to the top 3 receivers.
Cardinals with no timeouts.
There's Bolden here in the slot, Kenny.
Blake, complete, Johnson out of bounds, clock stops, 12 seconds.
There's Brian Johnson down here at the bottom, and I said you got to get to the sidelines or to the end zone. That is what you call an arrow route. That is a great route, a great throw, and the only place you can throw it where you can stop the clock. Now, if you get tackled in bounds, that clock is probably going to run out. You've got 2 shots here with 12 seconds to go to the end zone. do not want to take any kind of a sack. You need to get rid of the football.
From the 4-yard line, quick drop, Blake for the end zone, incomplete. Looking for the fullback, James Hodgins.
No, they still have time for a play. You do not need to kick this field goal.
That last play took only 4 seconds.
4 seconds? No, you got to go and take a shot. Kenny, you're talking about a team that's 0-2. You got the Packers here in a position to take the lead before the half. This is, I think, a bad call by the Cardinals.
I agree. That last play, the incomplete pass, took only 4 seconds. Why not try one more time?
You go for one shot, one chance, and the most it's going to take is 6 seconds.
21-yard attempt. Bill Gramatica ties the game, but the Cardinals definitely had time.
Well, you're not playing to win
there.
You're not playing to win right there. You're playing it safe. You're taking it. And I don't think that the Cardinals, this early in the season, needing a win, should play safe. Look, the Cardinals, the way they are right now, as injured as they are, leading the league in turnovers, all those things. You need to turn that thing around, and you need to get one. You need a victory here. You got to give yourself a best chance to get a victory, and they're leaving points, I think, on the field right now. Or at least an opportunity for points.
Yeah, previous play started with 12 seconds. Incomplete pass intended for Hodgins. Clock stopped at 8 seconds. So the Cardinals certainly had time for one more shot at the end zone, and then you kick the field goal.
Well, Emmitt Smith is going to go and probably change his shirt, his pads. Dexter Jackson, they may be going to that cold locker too, the meat locker.
What do they have in common? Former Super Bowl MVPs.
Jeff Blake just had a good series.
So with 5 seconds remaining, remember the clock does not start until the ball is touched.
Well, the Giants know that, don't they?
Taken at the 25 by William Henderson. And that will do it for the first half. Cardinals head for the locker room. Packers head for that refrigerated truck that they hired here in Arizona. Halftime from Sun Devil Stadium. We are tied at 10.
Of the NFL, it's everywhere you want to be.
All right, folks, for those of you watching Green Bay in Arizona, it's all tied at 10. Arizona does play hard. Terry Bradshaw's got me chuckling. I can't stop. Let's move on and see what St. Louis and Seattle are doing. St. Louis nursing a 7-point lead, and Mark Baldinger, a solid first half. Very impressive indeed. Giants up by 11 over the Redskins. Kerry Collins over 150 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Browns just 80 yards in the first half, trailing the 49ers by 6. Ravens on top of the Chargers. Baltimore is 5-0 against the AFC West since the year 2000.
Michael Vick, a few weeks away, folks. There he is, young quarterback, exciting quarterback for the Falcons. But that guy, Warren Sapp, says, I'm going to have a big day. Boy, do they ever. It starts off, though, with Michael Pittman out of the backfield. A little sideline and up, covered by a linebacker as a mismatch. There's the speed. 68 yards later, it's Tampa Bay 10-3 over Atlanta. Back comes Warren Sapp. Look at this, inside, outside, 6-yard touchdown reception. Beyonce knows I'm crazy for your love. Yeah, that's it. All right, Doug Johnson, quarterback for the Falcons. A bad day. This ball picked off by Dwight Smith, and 44 straight games now. Tampa Bay with a turnover. Steve McNair injured, dislocated finger on his right hand, his throwing hand, comes back the following week, gutsy performance. Drew Bennett, 5-yard touchdown reception, 20-5. Then Eddie George, great game. Over 100 yards rushing, 6 of them come right here, 27-12. Tennessee over my New Orleans Saints. Minnesota, Detroit, young quarterback Joey Harrington for the Lions. Good young man. But it's this guy. 2-yard touchdown. I'm talking about 5 yards. Sean Bryson, he takes it in, 7-0 line. Second quarter, Dante Culper. Play action left, rolls right. Looks for 84 Moss. He's covered. Takes it in himself. Is injured on this play. Does not come back. Second half, though, his replacement. Gus Farad back. Looks for Kelly Campbell. 72-yard touchdown reception down the right sideline. Great route. Went inside, back to the outside. Great separation. And then afterwards, head coach Mike Tice had this to say to his team.
Okay, 3-0. 3-0 in the division. 2 of them on the road. Man, there's only been 10 teams since 1970 that have done that. And guess what? You guys are one of them, huh? How about that?
Only time I've ever seen our own Jimmy Johnson cry after a speech. What a moving moment that was. Talking about moving, Tom Brady. Tom Brady in for a touchdown on a scramble. Hits New England up. And then once again, Jimmy was screaming and hollering, saying, that's what cost us the championship game against Penn State. Then it tested Verdi, throws the pick. There it is, Asante Samuel, 55-yard interception return, 23-16. New England over the Jets. My Steelers, Hein Ward's the ketchup. Hey, the ketchup guy.
What's his name?
Hein. Forget it.
You think it's Joey Porter? You said Hein?
No, I said Hein. Hein. And then, of course, George Porter, he being shot in the buttocks 3 weeks ago, comes back, gets the sap. Steelers all over Cincinnati. And then Peyton Manning. Howie, you love this guy. Nobody plays better in big games than Peyton Manning. Touchdown of 28 yards to Reggie Wayne. 2 on the day. Colts awfully impressive. Now 3-0, 23-13 over Jacksonville. And what's a highlight without having this guy, Priest Holmes, show us how he gets it done. 89 yards rushing on the day. 5 coming on that touchdown run. 42-14. Kansas City over Houston. Woo! Highlights, fantastic.
Now that Jimmy has dabbed his eyes
You
clear.
still crying?
Don't get me in trouble with Mike Tyson. I told you how big he's 6'7",
You
300
said,
plus.
I've never been so moved by an after-game speech.
Green Bay, Arizona.
Arizona's playing good. Dave McGinnis has got them playing hard. He's got evidently said, hey, forget about those first 2 weeks when we played horrible. They've only had 1 turnover, the interception today, only got 2 penalties. If they can keep that going, they're going to make a game of it.
This guy, Anquan Bolden, this is a guy that comes out in the first week and you say, who is this guy? 200-plus yards receiving in the first week.
Second-round draft choice out of Florida State.
Unbelievable. This kid, he's big, he's physical, he's competitive. He doesn't seem to be in any way in awe of the existing experience. The guy just brings it every week. Today, bringing it again. 60 yards receiving in the first half.
30 years old, Howie.
He's 30 out of Florida State.
He can play in that dry heat, too, you know.
Hey, where did Joey Porter...
Speaking of a team bringing it today, the New York Giants apparently bringing it to the Washington Redskins as well. Take a look here as Kerry Collins rolls right, hooks up, second touchdown catch of the day.
JB.
Right now, you know what? I'm trying my best, Howie. Redskins trailing the Giants 21-3. Yeah, you're all over it. You got it for sure. Jimmy Johnson did not say that about Mike Tyson, nor about Vinny Testaverde, but he did have a tear in his eye. All right.
He does twitch a little bit when he says Vinny's name.
After this.
Visa. If you love the NFL, it's everywhere you want to be.
Halftime from Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. Packers and Cardinals tied at 10. We'll return for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station. Yes, it is hot. 102 degrees at kickoff here in Tempe, Arizona. At halftime, Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals are tied at 10. Brian, the first half numbers.
Well, it's about as even as you can get. And both teams have done a good job of shutting down the other team's running game. Emmitt Smith, Amon Green, both in check. So the ball's in the hands of the quarterbacks right now. Brett Favre only has 2 completions to his wide receivers. I think they have to open it up a little bit. And then I think they got to stay aggressive with Jeff Blake and what he's doing with his rookie receivers, which was significant at the end of that half.
And I think the key number on the Cardinals side, only 1 turnover.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, if you eliminate the turnovers, Kenny, they're going to be in a lot of games because they play hard. They're not giving the other team right now, Green Bay, good field position or easy opportunities to score like they did a week ago.
Cardinals turned the ball over 9 times over their first 2 games, only 1 so far today over the first half. Jeff Blake, 10 of 18, 158 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Cardinals only touchdown. Our Kevin McCabe is down on the field with Cardinals head coach Dave McGinnis. Kevin?
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'm with head coach Dave McGinnis. Mac, you had 8 seconds on the clock. Did you think about going for a score there before the half?
No, because we didn't want anything to run down and not have any time left. Kick the thing, get this thing back to even. We fought back pretty damn well. We've got it even where we want to do it. Now we've got to come out and control this thing in the second half.
You ever think about turning it over? You turned it over a lot this year. Was that a cause for concern there with those 8 seconds?
Not really, no.
All right, second half. Let's go back upstairs, guys.
So Dave McGinnis concerned with the clock winding down if the Cardinals did not get into the end zone on that final play of the half. But as we pointed out, play prior took only 4 seconds.
Well, I don't think that you can be trying to play for even and trying to get it to even before the half. I think you got to try to get as many points when you get the opportunity as you can with a team that has struggled early this season.
Josh Scobie on the return for the Cardinals, taken down at the 18-yard line by the newest Packer brought in this week from New Orleans, Michael Hawthorne.
Well, Jeff Blake finished that first half hot, and you know he got good protection. And so I think as we start the second half, Kenny, we've talked a lot about the heat. Both teams very even in yards, points. I mean, it's even, Steven. It's 30 minutes of football, and I think who's going to be standing at the end? Who's going to survive here? Guys going to start cramping up, or are they going to start fatiguing? And I think that's what you need to look forward to here and to watch as we get ready for the second half.
Blake and the Cardinals start from their own 19-yard line. In a tie game, Cardinals and the Packers even at 10. Emmitt Smith gaining 2 yards out to the 21. Phoenix native Niall Diggs on the tackle along with Nick Barnett.
You know, one of the reasons why the teams haven't been able to run successfully is teams have really walked that extra safety up that we talk about every week. Here's Darren Sharper right here. He's the 8th man right now, and here's the deep safety, Anton Edwards. There's a big open area in that field if you want to throw the football.
The rookie receivers, Johnson and Bolden, combined for 6 catches, 116 yards in the first half. 2nd and 8 from the 21. Hodgins, the fullback, shifting. Off the play fake to Smith. Blake can't find anyone and takes it out of bounds at the 23. So it will be 3rd down and 6 for the Cardinals.
Take a look at the rookie's number, Anquan Bolden, who Jeff was looking for in that last play. Been active so far today and early this season.
Now, since 1970, Brian, first 3 games, rookie season, Bolden has eclipsed Louis Lips, 339 yards. Most yards by a rookie over his first 3 NFL games since 1970.
Here's that formation that we saw earlier that they wanted to throw at Green Bay.
On 3rd and 6, Blake faked the handoff to McCadley, and he hits Bolden out at the 29-yard line, close to a 1st down.
When you're the #1 receiver in an offense, the way Anquan Bolden is, the plays are designed for you. So he's the trail route here. He's going to break it off. You see, he puts the corner, Baldinger, in a tough position to cover 2 guys. So everything they do with Anquan, we'll watch him here in the second half as he takes a breather here. But they put him in motion, Kenny. They rub him off of screens right now. The way that you do it with Randy Moss and Terrell Owens, that's what they're doing with Bolden. They're using a lot of different formations to open him up and to get him open.
And he ties the Earl Cooper record, 21 receptions first 3 games. Emmitt still on his feet, finally brought down by Hannibal Davies, but not before he picks up 11 yards and another Cardinal 1st down.
Well, and Emmitt can still run through traffic because he's got vision and he still has the ability to cut. And that's what he did there. I mean, this is heavy traffic, but he's staying as he always has. He's got great balance. So good lead block by James Hodgins there. Then other guys down the field. Good guys downfield. Those two rookie receivers, Brian Johnson and Anquan Bolden, both of them not afraid to throw some leather in.
From the 40, play action. Blake with loads of time, and wide open is Brian Johnson at the Packer 45-yard line. Another Arizona 1st down, and Jason McCadley is shaken up. Remember, they're already missing 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, and they're shorthanded. There's no question. Look at the protection here against KGB. This is Anthony Clement on the outside, just battling. It's allowed Jeff Blake a lot of time to step up and find the open receiver, Brian Johnson, in the middle of the field. Well, we talked about at the open that they're already -3 receivers. I see Nathan Poole right now going into the game. You see McCadley, he looks like a hamstring pull just coming off the line.
Remember what Dave McGinnis told us yesterday? He called him Nate all-out every play Poole.
Well, and he also is a yo-yo. I mean, he's been on the roster, off the roster, back and forth, depending on who's healthy.
That's right, the last 3 seasons caught prior to the regular season and then brought back every year. Poole wearing uniform number 19, doesn't even have a regular wide receiver number.
All the 80 numbers are hurt.
Emmitt, penalty marker. Emmett down to the 40-yard line. He picks up 5. Emmett running well here in the second half. By Carey, still sorting things out.
Holding. Offense, number 65. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, you talk about Anthony Clement, the job he did against KGB on the play before. You almost feel like you jinx these guys sometimes. So wide receiver Jason McAdley, it looked like he pulled his hamstring the play before. Anthony Clement here on the outside on this. See, that was KGB going inside, or Joe Johnson going inside on him, and beat him with speed to the inside.
4 wide receivers, first down and 20. Blake with time, complete to Bolden. And Anquan Bolden with another big catch and run for an Arizona Cardinals first down.
And Kenny, what a beautiful route. I mean, Blake had time, but I'm telling you, Bolden, who Jeff Blake called a baller, somebody that just knows how to play the game. Watch this route. He pushes it up, and then he breaks it at a 90-degree angle right across, and he got the separation. And that's what receivers are looking to do, separate themselves from the defender. And a guy that was a second-round pick because they said he didn't have enough speed seems to be able to get open in this league.
How did he last until the 54th overall pick?
That's the best receiver in this draft early right now in this year.
Marcel Shipp, who led the Cardinals in rushing last year, signed an extension, and then they brought in Emmitt Smith. Shipp down to the 31-yard line, gain of 3.
This is not an accident. This isn't some sort of, aberration that's happening with Anquan Bolden. In any offense right now, this kid would be getting these kind of touches because he jumps out at you. First of all, he's physical. He's got a strong lower body. Legs are strong. We've seen him block today. He's crushed some people in blocks. And then his ability to separate from a defender is creating great openings.
Remember in the season opener against Detroit, 217 yards on 10 receptions for Bolden.
Most ever by a rookie receiver.
Blake rolling right. Takes it out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Just a yard shy of the marker as Blake gains 5.
Well, he's got a bad left heel. He missed 3/4 of last week's game. He tried to get it injected with a painkiller last week. He said it didn't do any good. And he said, look, I'm playing today. I'm playing. I came here to be the starter. And he said, it's going to bother me. He's hobbling. You can see it. He's limping. He was limping in practice. But it hasn't affected his ability to play the game.
Third down and 1. Bolden in motion. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt picks up the first down. We mentioned earlier that Emmitt has had great success against the Packers. 8-1 record with Dallas against Green Bay. 5-1 in the regular season, 3-0 in the playoffs. And Emmitt had his highest ever postseason rushing total, 150 yards in a game against Green Bay back in '96.
And remember now, Emmitt came in that locker room after last week's 38-0 lackluster effort. And he basically cussed that team up and down. And he exerted himself as the leader of this team. And now he's backing it up here today with some good play.
From the 23, it's Emmitt again. So Favre makes a pregame speech last week. The Packers go out and blow out the Lions, and then Emmitt with a postgame speech to his new teammates.
And Favre said he's out of the pregame speech business. He said he's 1 for 1, he got to win. He said he doesn't like to do it. He wants his performance on the field to speak for itself. I think Emmitt was just frustrated. Frustrated by the turnovers, frustrated by maybe not finishing that game strong. And, you've got to make defeat taste real bad and make you hurt all week so that you don't let it happen again, and that was his message.
Second down and 6 for the Cardinals. Emmitt looks to cut it back inside. You wonder about this Packer defense. Are they wearing out? They've now been on the field. Take it back to the second quarter, Brian, the last drive of the second quarter, and now this drive, 21 consecutive plays run by the Cardinals offense.
Well, and you see the substitution right now. Full scale, Chucky Nagori coming in full scale defensive line substitution on 3rd down. Now, I'll tell you, the people that hate to see that substitution are the offensive line, because they're seeing a wave of fresh players coming in while they've been on the field for those 21 plays as well.
This will be the 12th play of this drive. Have to get to the 13 for a first down. Play action. Blake looking end zone. And the pass is broken up. Intended for Bolden. Double coverage. Antoine Edwards there along with Mike McKenzie.
In order to get that ball down the field, they double teamed here, KGB. Freddie Jones stays in. They got 4 hands, they got 2 helmets, 4 eyeballs just sort of poking them all over the place. Holden wanted a little interference there from Antoine Edwards as he climbed his back going for the ball. He's going to get a lot of those double teams when he starts putting up the type of numbers he is early this season.
37-yard attempt. Phil Gramatica is 2 for 2.
7 minutes, 31 seconds.
Cardinals with a 7.5-minute drive to open the second half. Have regained the lead. Packer defense on the field for 7.5 minutes as the Cardinals regain the lead.
Said who's going to be strong in the 4th quarter today. Now that's probably going to decide the outcome of this game, the way both teams are playing.
Taken at the goal line by Chapman. Chapman upended, just shy of the 25-yard line. So Brett Favre with his first opportunity of this second half when we come back. Tonight on Fox, the 55th annual Primetime Emmy Awards, plus special tributes for Bob Hope and Bill Cosby. Catch it live tonight at 8/7 Central, right here on Fox. Packers starting from their own 24 as Favre hits Ferguson for a first down, gain of 15. Out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
And that's only the 3rd reception today by a wide receiver from Green Bay. So you get the feeling that they went into the locker room at halftime, they talked about some things, and they're like, we need to get these guys involved. Because while we're moving the football, we're not getting any big chunk plays. And that's what you want. You want to get the ball in the hands of Driver and Ferguson and let them do something with it.
Second catch for Ferguson. Remember, Favre started the game 10 for 10. Green, no gain, brought down at the 39-yard line by Marcus Bell.
See, they've done a great job so far against Amon Green. That's his 15th carry today, Kenny. Just a little bit over 30 yards. And so that, I said at the beginning, is the catalyst. And if you shut down the catalyst, you got a good chance of being in the game like they are right now.
160 yards on the ground for Amon Green last week in the win over Detroit.
Now, he's also one of those guys that can rip one off, 50, 60 yards at any time.
As he did last week early in the first quarter. 2nd and 10. Play action. Favre over the top to the fullback. William Henderson in Cardinals territory. Down to the Arizona 47, a gain of 14.
See, that's play action. See, when you get play action, King, what it does is it kind of takes the linebackers out of the equation. The linebackers will bite on the play action fake, especially if it's to Amon Green. So watch Ronald McKinnon step up here. McKinnon going to the deep pass coverage, looking to help out against those wide receivers that time. Created that void in the middle.
1st and 10 from the Arizona 47. Favre pump fake and then got rid of it to Green. And Amon gained 6 down to the 41, brought down by Ray Thompson, setting up 2nd down and 4.
You see that Raynoch Thompson, I mean, he's been in the league now for 4 years, was 2nd on the team in tackles a year ago. And he's an active player. He's got a lot of speed. And everybody says, he's too skinny. But it's just one of those stupid things that people say that's based on reputation. Kid's 230 pounds. He's worked hard to keep the bulk on him, and he's got more than enough size because he's an every down player. Doesn't come off the field, and then he's been able to stay healthy.
On 2nd and 4, Green is met immediately by the former Eagle and Jet, James Darling. No gain on the play. So a 3rd and 4 upcoming.
See, right now, the Cardinals got 4 linebackers out there. They just went to a 4 linebacker look. That's when they bring James Darling on. So they kind of changed up there. They went to a 3-4, 3 down lineman, 4th linebacker. Messed up the blocking scheme of the Packers a little bit.
Packers have to get to the Cardinals 37 for a 1st down. 4 wide receivers set. Favre looking for Javon Walker. Incomplete.
See, that's where this offense is missing just a little bit. Being able to convert on key 3rd downs, because Javon Walker here, right here, is open. Protection is good. Favre has time. And he's just off a little bit right now. They think that Javon Walker is ready for a breakout season. That was an opportunity to get him the ball.
Ryan Johnson lets it go. And it is down at the 1. Terrific effort on special teams. Hustling downfield, the long snapper, Rob Davis.
That's a big play. And that's one of those things, that's like almost like a turnover. You make an offense start down at the 1-yard line. That's something that really lifts up a ball club.
Davis the snap to the punter Bidwell. Hustle downfield. We'll be back.
Rookie receivers for Arizona looking pretty strong. I mean, Anquan Bolden, Bryant Johnson, the 1st and 2nd round picks there. 9 catches for 157. Suddenly, the loss of David Boston doesn't look so dramatic here.
Boston now a San Diego Charger has had trouble staying healthy. Cardinals start from their own 2. Emmett.
This is that area of the field, you know, where you just don't want to make any mistakes on offense, but you don't want to just stick your head in the sand either. So you want to max protect, get your best receiver, Anquan Bolden, get him to rub off some kind of a pick, some kind of, almost like you do in basketball. Just get him free. We'll find out where he lines up here. He's going to be all the way up to the left.
Offensive lineman must remember a holding penalty in the end zone is a safety.
Here's Bolden up at the top.
There's Blake, looking to throw out of the end zone, and he threw it away. Looking for the tight end, Freddie Jones, under pressure from Chucky Wakuri.
Yeah, you know, as long as he's outside the pocket there, he can throw that ball away without intentional grounding. An odd call. They're running kind of a route right here on a bootleg, but that was well covered. Both Freddie Jones well covered. Packer fans in that corner end zone, they must feel like they're on the road right now. It is loud and noisy. See Pete Kendall, the center, telling the Packer fans to quiet it down.
From the end zone on 3rd and 10. Blake complete. Freddie Jones. 1st down out of the 16-yard line. That will certainly quiet down the Packer fans and bring the Cardinal fans to their feet.
Well, that, and look at the protection here of this offensive line. I mean, KGB doesn't really get off the line of scrimmage against Anthony Clemente. He's stoned. And the way those linemen are standing up right now, you wonder how much fatigue and how much the heat is taken on them, being out here almost the entire 3rd quarter so far.
The breathing room for the Cardinals from the 15. Emmett out to the 19-yard line. Led by Al Harris on a penalty marker. Postseason baseball beginning in just 9 days here on Fox. Call is against the Cardinals. Final Saturday of the regular season. Next Saturday, Braves and the Phillies, Mets and Marlins, Brewers at the Astros, and the Mariners will host the A's. That's next Saturday starting at 1 Eastern. Major League Baseball on Fox, the final Saturday of the regular season.
Yeah, the Cardinals guilty of a cut block this time. Bryant Johnson going in. on Anton Edwards. I don't know about that. He never got to his, never put his helmet inside the legs there. We saw a nasty one last week in Carolina. Keenan McCardell chop blocking on Kavika Pittman, put him out for the season. That's why that's a 15-yard penalty. It's so flagrant.
And McCardell fined this past week by the league office. First down at 17. Marcel Shipp brings it out to the 17-yard line. Shipp gained 9. Brought down by Kabir Panjo-Viabella.
Well, you know, Shipp is a guy that Cardinal fans haven't seen much of this season. And he was their featured back a year ago, and deservedly so. He's very strong. In a huge win against the Giants right here last year. He basically wore down the Giants defense and won that game in the fourth quarter by himself.
Led the Cardinals in rushing last year. Second down and 8. The handoff to Shipp, and he is forced back. Rod Walker, backup nose tackle.
Rod Walker filling in there for Gilbert Brown. They're rotating in the middle. Here he is, just plays off the block by Pete Kendall. Mike McKenzie working. Well, that's kind of a cheap shot, and Mike McKenzie got himself a little step in there. Got away with one because sometimes the second guy that gets caught, you know, that's kind of a dangerous thing to do if you do, because you're going to give Arizona an automatic first down.
But McKenzie not caught. So it's third down and 9. Cardinals must get to the 25. But the play is blown dead.
False start. Offense. Left guard. 5-yard penalty remains. Third down.
Brian, the Green Bay defense has now been on the field for 28 of the last 34 plays in the game.
Yeah, you know, dating back to ending the second quarter there, and then through the third quarter. But, you know, this third down, I mean, you want to be a good defense, you want to go and defend your NFC North title. You got to find extra wind, you got to suck it up here. This is a chance to go make a play on third and long. Those defensive backs will be ball hawking, and if you're a pass rusher, they only have 1 sack by that defensive line all year. This one you want to turn it loose.
Packers already know that the Vikings won today. Minnesota now 3-0 in the NFC North. Cardinals have to get to the 25, and they do. Brian Johnson with another big reception. He needed 14, Brian, and he gained 15.
Yeah, and you know, that's almost the veteran appeal that these rookie receivers have. They seem to be so mature about understanding the offense, knowing where the sticks are, how far they got to go. That's a good body catch. Because, see, what's going to happen here is Mike McKenzie covering, or Darren Sharper covering on the play, is going to try and strip it. But he's got that thing locked in against the body, and that's a good catch.
Remember, he fumbled last week early in the game. Did Johnson against Seattle. Marcel Shipp loses a yard.
Remember, and Jeff Blake sat him down after he fumbled on the first play, and he said, look, you got to be smart in this league. You catch that ball in a zone. Get down. Don't try to get too much. You know, this isn't Penn State against Toledo. This is the NFL. You're going to get hit by BBs.
That will do it for the third quarter. The only score in the quarter, a 37-yard dramatic field goal. Cardinals leading by 3. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a word from your local station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Some melted cheese here in Tempe. It is now 105 degrees. It was 102 at kickoff.
You know what you always ask somebody? Somebody's got a footprint in there. You know, you ever ask somebody from Wisconsin, you always have your favorite cheese. So what's your favorite cheese?
Munster.
Munster.
Munster and American.
Yeah.
Provolone.
Well,
Just gave you 3.
I'm an American cheese guy. See there, the ball control, the third quarter by the Cardinals. This is their game plan. In this kind of heat, this is what they want to do. When they've won big games early in the year here in Arizona, beating Washington, beating the Giants last year, this is how they've done it. They've worn teams down. They've played good ball control. They've kept the ball away from the other team. It's just a good formula to get to the fourth quarter with the lead and being able to control the line of scrimmage. It was a dream for Dave McGinnis.
Second down and 11 from the 25. Blake in trouble, got rid of it. As we check in once again with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny, not good news for St. Louis. Take a look at Marshall Faulk on this run right here. And that how he fell on the left hand. X-rays confirm a fractured left hand as he heads off. That took place in the third. Right now, St. Louis is nursing a 6-point lead back to Kenny Alford, Brian Baldinger.
Yeah, and on that last play, Al Harris came and hit Jeff Blake.
And a late flag for intentional grounding.
10 yards.
So the Cardinals penalized.
Well, I don't know how you could call that intentional grounding. I mean, Jeff Blake just gets sandwiched there. I think that had something to do with the ball and the way it came out. But right now, Green Bay, that was a double corner cat blitz. They're looking to try to create a turnover here. Try to make something happen, get the ball away from the Cardinals.
Blake has not been sacked. Hit 4 times, 8 hurries.
That intentional grounding is a costly penalty because it's also a loss of down.
Now third down and 21. Cardinals have to get to the 36. Freddie Jones made the catch, but he stopped 3 yards shy. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line after a gain of 18.
Well, you know, Jeff Blake had a monster first game. They lost that game to Detroit, but he threw the ball all over the field that day. And right now, when he's getting time, he's finding the receivers. I wonder if they just hurt themselves with that intentional grounding call, and I kind of question it just because of the way he was sandwiched as he was throwing it.
Scott Player back at his own 20-yard line. Getting set to punt to Antonio Chapman. Low snap. Chapman back all the way at the 9-yard line. Terrific kick by Player. Chapman down the sidelines. Forced out by the punter Player. At the 41-yard line. 33-yard return by Antonio Chapman. His longest punt return of the season. Setting up terrific field position for the Green Bay Packers.
Bud Light.
Following the long punt return by Chapman, Favre complete on first down. Robert Ferguson gains 9 yards to midfield, setting up second down and 1. Well, the officials, Brian, don't get a break. They're out there for the entire 60 minutes.
Well, you see, you're the field judge. You got to come out and bring the water. For Mike Carey, Buddy Horton there, bringing a couple cups of water out there for Mike Carey, doing a good job of refereeing this game today.
From midfield, second and 1. Green picks up the first down to the Arizona Cardinals 46-yard line. As we check out some American League scores. Yankees shut out the Devil Rays. Red Sox shut out the Indians. Another loss for the Tigers. Royals over the White Sox, and the A's clobbering the Mariners in the 6th. And the standings.
Wild card race still up. Red Sox looking to hang in there, picking up the game today.
Favre rolling right. William Henderson on the check down. Out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Another Packer first down.
Yeah, you know, William Henderson has been valuable in the passing game today. Number of key receptions for him. Sometimes, you know, that's his 3rd catch. You concentrate so much on those receivers and Favre and the tight ends in the red zone, you kind of forget about the fullback.
3 receptions, 47 yards for William Henderson.
Yeah, he's never been a guy that goes down easy as well.
So the Packers moving the chains, trailing by 3 from the 35-yard line. Green Down inside the 25. Finally brought down by Dexter Jackson after a gain of 11.
Yeah, and Robert Ferguson is shaken up. He came in with a bad ankle, hurt that knee in the first week in that loss to Minnesota, and that's what he's pointing to, the left knee.
So the Packer trainers tending to Ferguson. Packers on the move. Robert Ferguson out, replaced by Javon Walker.
This right here got hit by Dexter Jackson. Favre told us yesterday in the meeting that Robert Ferguson will do whatever it takes to help him win a football game. He likes it.
Pitch to Green on first down. And Amon gains 2 yards down to the 22-yard line. James Darling made the tackle.
Well, even though Green Bay hasn't been on the field much in the second half, they haven't gotten away from the balance of their offense. I mean, right now, still very balanced. Staying with the running game, not panicking, only down 3. Still staying within the framework of the game plan here.
Saw Ferguson on the sidelines.
Yeah, and you see Amon Green has been close, a couple of runs here, where he's just gotten tripped up at the end, but you almost get the feeling that he's got that one breakaway one still in him.
Favre calls timeout. We are told the Green Bay trainers working on Ferguson's right knee. His return is questionable. Just over 11 minutes remaining here in Tempe.
Fox NFL Sundays, brought to you by Saturn, makers of the highly adaptable View redesigned L Series and the fun-to-drive Ion.
Following the Packers timeout, 2nd down and 8. 4 wide receivers. Favre threw it on a bounce, looking for the tight end, Bubba Franks. Pass just short.
Well, you know, they have to blitz to get pressure. That time they sent Raynock Thompson, and Brett probably didn't stay in there strong enough. But bounced that one up off the turf. And, you know, right now, Arizona, you know, is looking to put pressure on Favre. Just try to knock him out for rhythm. And maybe for the first time today, we see Antonio Freeman. And he'll be in the slot on this play. And it's a comfort zone for Brett, especially on 3rd down. We'll watch Freeman here work his magic right here in the slot.
Driver split to the left, Freeman in the slot, Walker to the right. 3rd down and 8 as Favre fires, and it's broken up. Adrian Wilson getting a piece of it.
Good coverage that time by Arizona. Favre tried to torque that one in there. Wasn't an awful throw, a little bit behind the receiver.
So a 40-yard attempt. Ryan Longwell hit from 40 earlier. As the distance, and we are tied at 13. That drive set up by the long Chapman punt return, and the Packers get 3. Well, it's about 126 down on the field. 106 officially, the highest recorded temperature in Tempe ever on September 21st, Brian, which is also the official last day of summer.
Yeah, well, do tell me summer's over after today, because it's already risen 4 degrees since kickoff today.
Summer's over and left to see what tomorrow feels like. Josh Scobie takes it back to the 33-yard line. Good field position for the Arizona Cardinals in a tie game. In the National League comes over the Pirates 4-1. Cardinals over the Astros 6-4. Reds eke out a 1-run victory over the Phillies.
2 wins in a row this weekend against the Phillies, but the Marlins lose. So the Phillies don't lose any ground. Still a half gain up on the Marlins. And the Cubs, though, as the Phillies and Marlins lose, the Cubs sneaking into the picture in the wild card, and a chance to win that Central.
Brian, as a Philadelphia area native, will it be the Phillies? Will they win the wild card?
But they need something to brighten that city. After an 0-2 start at Lincoln Financial Field, it's not good.
Blake going deep, and he overthrows Brian Johnson, but there is a flag. Al Harris, former Eagle, on the coverage.
We talked to Al Harris yesterday, and he said that he only had 3 penalties all of last year. He had to stop being so aggressive with his hands because they kept flagging him for illegal contact.
And he said 2 of the 3 were opening week last year.
Yeah. And I think this may be an issue of whether this was a catchable ball. It was well beyond Brian Johnson's range.
Al Harris also told us his last haircut was back in 1998.
Yeah, and he said he's not cutting it soon unless the commissioner makes him. I didn't see him do anything.
They might pick this flag up.
Pass interference. Defense, number 31. Automatic. Push down.
He said, Al, he said, what about that pass interference penalty when the ball's thrown 40 yards down the field? Sometimes it's not catchable, and it becomes a 40-yard penalty like that. He laughed. He goes, wait, you want me to say that it shouldn't be?
Cardinals gained 28 yards on this call.
That's a terrible call. I mean, Al Harris just turned to run with Brian Johnson.
I agree. From the 40, Blake to the fullback, James Hodgins. Gains 4 as we check in once again with JB.
Kenny and Brian Redskins were down by 17 against Atlanta last week and won. Down by 18 here. They have now narrowed it to 11 with that touchdown toss. Patrick Ramsey to Darnarian McCants. Now in the 4th quarter, 21-10 Giants back to Kenny and Brian.
Hey, JB, Frank Caliendo's here at the game this afternoon. He's made it out of the studio, and he's watching the Cardinals and the Packers from the sidelines. 2nd down and 6. Coming back inside, Emmitt Smith down to the 31-yard line, just shy of the marker as Emmitt picks up 5.
Again, a couple issues with the last 28-yard pass interference penalty. First of all, you're down at the bottom here, and I don't know. I mean, Al Harris turned to run with Brian Johnson, and then the ball lands 6 yards beyond Brian Johnson. It's not like Al Harris armbarred him or slowed him down from getting to that football. You know, if you're Al Harris sitting out there in the corner without any help like that, you go, what else? What am I allowed to do? What can I do in this game right now to cover these guys?
And that ball was not catchable. Emmitt Smith on 3rd and 1. Picks up the 1st down to the 29 with 9.5 remaining. Keep in mind, in this tie game, the Cardinals, head coach Dave McGinnis, elected to kick a field goal with 8 seconds left in the 1st half when it seemed like they had time to take one last shot at the end zone from the 4-yard line.
Yeah, and you know, right now, as they drive here, it isn't the biggest play in the world, but you always have to look back and say, do we leave points on the field that we could have had? Maybe one other chance to the end zone could have provided a touchdown instead of a field goal.
New set of downs for the Cardinals from the 29-yard line. Ship. Terrific second effort. Marcel Ship close to another 1st down.
You know, you look at Joe Johnson having a hard time getting up right here, and Hannibal Navy's slow to get up, and as a Cardinal fan, Robert Ferguson limping off the field. This is the Cardinals' game plan right here, Kenny. Running 2 backs, leaning on the offensive line, minus Leonard Davis. Keeping the game close, getting it to the 4th quarter, taking advantage of the heat.
And that's exactly what Dave McGinnis told us yesterday. He said, we're not a catch-up team, but if we can get close within the 2nd half, use the heat, use Emmitt and Marcel Ship, we'll be happy.
Well, they're rotating those backs, and that doesn't look like a fresh group right there.
Cardinal portion of the crowd on their feet. 8.5 to play.
Dave McGinnis said playing here in Arizona in September is like playing, you know, hotter than a hump of hell. I tell you, it feels like that to those players right now.
On 2nd and 1, Emmitt Smith all the way down to the 12-yard line, but a penalty marker.
Holding. offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's Pete Kendall, the Cardinals center. This feels like a college football atmosphere. You have Packer fans on one
like a
side,
bowl game.
Cardinal fans over on the other side.
Yeah, that was a true bowl game. I always thought that was always a lot more fun atmosphere when you got fans of both teams in the stadium, kind of cheering against each other. Packer fans on their feet.
Over 58,000, Brian. Biggest crowd for a Cardinals home game since the Packers were here 3 years ago.
And I got to be honest, as a Cardinal player down there, you appreciate the Packer fans because there's energy, there's life in the stadium. You don't feel like you're playing in an empty pit like some Sundays here.
You played here with the Cowboys and Eagles. Did it feel like a home game for you?
Sometimes, especially when we were winning.
Blake on 2nd and 13, fires complete down at the 13-yard line to Anquan Bolden.
Who else? I tell you, this kid is huge. And nothing phases him. He acts like a veteran, like he expects the ball. Watch him, he's beaten. Mike McKenzie working into that zone. A lot of guys don't like to go in there on what they call that dig route, that deep in, because they know they're going to get crushed by that safety. I think he embraces going into the middle of the field like that.
Making Cardinal fans quickly forget about losing David Boston. 1st and 10, 13-yard line. Emmett looks to spin away from Wakuri, and then is taken down. No gain on the play.
Watch Anquan Bolden after catching that ball. He's got to come in motion now. Watch him run in motion. He can barely do the fake here. He just got to. I'll get back to the huddle here. Catch my breath.
Looked like he was running in place.
Yes. But he doesn't take many plays off. And here he was holding, taking on Mike McKenzie. Not backing down to the veteran corner at all. A couple plays earlier now.
2nd and 10. Ship has replaced Emmitt Smith off the play fake. Complete to James Hodgins. And gained about 3 yards with Darren Sharper climbing up his back. Gets all the way down to the 5-yard line.
The Cardinals have been taken to task this week for not spending a lot of cap money. But they have brought in a couple of free agents like Jeff Blake and Hodgins, who look like they're starting to pay off some dividends. That Hodgins has 275 pounds of gristle, and he's a good lead back and a valuable player on that catch.
Al Harris limped off the field, replaced by Bao-Ju. Marcel Ship picks up another Cardinal first down. Down to the 2-yard line.
That Marcel Ship now has been a class guy and a team player, taking a back seat to Emmitt Smith, but getting a couple of carries here.
Packers continue to rotate in defensive players. Gilbert Brown might get more tired jogging in from the sidelines than he does during the course of the play.
Yeah, it's about a 50-yard jog or sprint out there to get in place.
Reset the fucking clock. What do you want?
Ship and Hodgins
Hold on.
in the backfield. 1st and goal from the 2. Marcel Ship down to the 1-yard line. Hannibal Davies, Nick Barnett in on the tackle. 4.5 to play. Cardinals and Packers tied at 13. Cardinals have led 7-0 at 13. Chandler's been tied 3 times. Green Bay had a 10-7 lead in the 2nd quarter. Cardinals just 1 yard away from regaining the lead.
And Emmitt Smith out there on the field, hasn't scored yet for the Cardinals. 1 yard away. You feel like this is Emmitt Smith time.
There's more rushing touchdowns than anybody else in the history of the NFL. Play action to the end zone. Touchdown, James Hodgins. Off the play fake to Emmett. Hodgins, the former Ram, wide open. And with just under 4 minutes remaining, the Cardinals go back on top.
Boy, I tell you, Jeff Blake was great on that drive, too. Playing with a bad heel. I mean, nice play action fake to Emmett into the line. He hides the ball well. He got everybody open. Heck, Freddie Jones was open. Hodgins was open. You know, and Mac is never short of emotion. And so send that field goal team out there.
Third career touchdown for James Hodgins, his first as a Cardinal. Brett Favre and the Packers trail by 7. They've had the ball for only 7 minutes, Brian, this half.
Yeah, they played keep away. But, you know, in order to do that, you can't turn the ball over, and they have it in the second half. They've taken care of the football.
Only one Arizona turnover in the game back in the first quarter. Chapman taken down by Marcel Shipp out of the 26-yard line. 24 yards on the return. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning with America's #1 pregame show. Then the 49ers take on the 3-0 Vikings. In the second game, it's the Lions and the Broncos. Some of you will see the Cowboys and the Jets. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. The biggest stories are in the NFC, and the NFC is on
Fox. And, you know, Favre's on Fox, and this is that 4-minute drill, you know, that he practices every Thursday. He takes very serious because of conditions and time in a game like this.
Packers start from the 25. Favre dumping it off to Ahman Green, and he's met by Raynoch Thompson after a gain of 3 up to the 28.
Tell you, and that defense doesn't look tired. You know, I mean, they just swarmed to that football right there. They've only been on the field 14 plays this half, and I think they got every white hat to Ahman Green there.
Cardinal portion of the crowd chanting defense, defense. Over 58,000, but I would say at least half are wearing green and gold.
Yeah, you know, they don't get a chance to shout defense very often in the fourth quarter. They've been left out of some of these games behind so much.
On second down, the slant is caught for a first down by Javon Walker. Walker into Cardinals territory. David Barrett forces him out at the Green Bay 39. Longest pass of the season, 33 yards for Brett Favre.
There he is working on Kobe Reinhardt, takes the slant, but what he does after the play, breaks that tackle, and then the head is up looking downfield for that big chunk. And everybody from Favre to Mike Sherman to Tom Rossi said this kid is on the verge of breaking out because they watch this in practice day in, day out with him.
Officially 34 yards from Favre to Walker. We approach 3 minutes remaining from the 39. Favre complete to Donald Driver, gain of 5, down to the 34-yard line. 26 career fourth quarter comebacks.
Remember just what a comeback is, because a comeback is you're behind entering into the fourth quarter and bring your team back in that fourth quarter overtime to a victory. So that's what the conditions are here. Packers down a touchdown with exactly 3 minutes to go.
Second down and 6. 3 receivers out of the shotgun. Fake the shovel pass. Can't find anyone downfield. Now looking the other way. And he gets rid of it to Bubba Franks. Favre was about to be sacked by Dennis Johnson. And he found Bubba Franks downfield, and Franks turns a negative play into a 4-yard gain.
You know, people talk about retirement and Favre getting old. I mean, he ran about 60 yards on this play to be able to dump it off to Bubba Franks and set up this 3rd and short, rescuing that play. I mean, still has the conditioning, still has the strength and the savvy to make a play when there's nothing there.
He's had a lot of time to rest today with his defense on the field. That not the case the last time the Packers were here.
Packers only have 10 men on the field.
And they use their second timeout.
I think nobody came in. Whatever personnel package they sent in, there was nobody on the sideline ready to come in.
So the Packers forced to burn their second timeout. .209 remaining. Cardinals leading by 7. Tennessee's Steve McNair threw for 252 yards. And the Titans win over the New Orleans Saints. Eddie George, 100 yards on the ground. And the Colts 23-13 over Jacksonville. Big day for Reggie Wayne.
Steve McNair, every week they say that he's hurt, that didn't practice. You know, I mean, how's he going to get through this game? And he always comes back. Always comes back and finds a way. Of course, we're looking down the field at the most durable quarterback of all time. 176 straight start. And he's been in this predicament many times. And he's, you know, kind of clapping in there right now, telling his team to hang in there. We got to get this one. Got to get this one before we can start thinking about the next one.
From the 30, third down and 2. And falling backwards to pick up the first down is Amon Green as we hit the 2-minute warning. Will Favre add this one to his resume? We'll see. Back in Tempe, Arizona, 106 degrees. 126 down on the field. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, Kevin McCabe. Green Bay Packers with a new set of downs. Only one timeout remaining. 2 minutes left. And they trail by 7.
Yeah, you know, and this is Brett Favre time. This is what you expect from him. He said that he's a little tired of doing this on a regular basis, but when he has to do it, you know, he rehearses for it every Thursday, takes it very seriously, and that's what he's got. I mean, that's the situation they're in. Arizona unable to get pressure on him most of the day.
Packers spreading the field, 3 receivers from the 28. Favre to the near side, complete at the 16-yard line. Gain of 12, Javon Walker.
Good job of keeping him inbounds. Remember, we watched that game against Minnesota when they were down late in the game without Ferguson and Driver. Javon Walker kind of got active in that game, and that's the situation they're in. Robert Ferguson out right now. He's out there on the field. Another player out of Florida State here.
Freeman in the slot. Driver split to the left, and Walker to the right.
Freeman up there in the slot.
From the 16. Quick slant. Big hit. Incomplete. Emmanuel McDaniel with the hit on Javon Walker.
That's one way to defend a pass, is just to crush the receiver. Good read this time by. Yeah, that's a great throw. Great hit. Laying the shoulder right into Walker.
McDaniel with his 5th team, released by Carolina during preseason.
8th year in the league, though, Kenny. He's got a lot of experience, been in this situation many times.
2nd and 10. Favre complete inside the 10. Bubba Franks down to the 8-yard line.
Green Bay with just one timeout left was forced to burn a couple.
William Henderson checks back in on 3rd down and 1, replacing Antonio Freeman. Under a minute to go, 3rd and 1 from just outside the 8.
They can afford to actually run the ball here and burn their timeout and then have 3 shots to the end zone.
They must pick up the first down. It's 3rd and 1. Here's Green, and he gets it. Down to the 7. Clock still running.
I thought they would have taken the timeout.
Looks like Mike Carey will call for the change here. Clock ran about 4 seconds after Green was down, and then Mike Carey decides to measure. It's a first down for the Packers.
Well, the measurement stops the clock, so they still get the timeout, and they get the new set of downs. And the clock should start right away here as soon as they set it. And Mike Carey gives the signal to start the clock, and it does.
From the 7-yard line, Favre rolling right, looking end zone, can't find anyone. Now throws, deflected, and nearly intercepted.
That was a bad throw. I mean, Brett really tried to force that one in there. And was fortunate that that ball tipped, wasn't intercepted. There was all kinds of hands that got in the way of that, and the Cardinals just... You see that Dexter Jackson, who's intercepted Brett Favre on 2 other occasions in his career, had his hands on that ball, got knocked out by his own teammate.
Right, 2 of his 7 have come against Favre. That play took 12 seconds off the clock.
A lot of time off that clock. It means anything that they catch in the field of play, it's going to be hard to get another play off if it's before the end zone.
Might carry over to take a look at something. Remember, in the last 2 minutes, coaches cannot challenge. It must come down from the replay booth.
Well, I'm trying to think what he could be replaying. It could be that Brett was over the line of scrimmage, or...
Turns out we are told there was a miscommunication. Mike Carey was not buzzed. Went over inadvertently. Thought he was called over.
There was a malfunction of the replay equipment. The buzzer went off erroneously. Second down.
Well, I'll tell you what, that should upset Dave McGinnis, because you see Favre has had a chance to go over right now, get cooled off, rested, think about the play without using a timeout.
Gave his defense a chance to rest as well.
Yeah, well, that too.
.16 seconds remaining. Second and goal from the 7. From the shotgun. Favre fires to the end zone. Incomplete. Antonio Freeman was the intended receiver.
He had him too.
That play took 6 seconds. 10 remaining. Pass bounce just in front of Freeman.
Favre was forced to roll to his right, but on the other side, Bubba Franks was uncovered. Favre had no shot of seeing that, rolling to his right and being chased.
2 more chances for the Packers. They have a timeout. Favre to the end zone. It's picked off. Intercepted in the end zone by Dexter Jackson. His 8th career pick. 3 of the 8 have come against Favre.
And what did Dexter Jackson tell us on Friday? He said, make sure you tell Brett that I've picked him off 3 times. Of course, we went back and checked. It was only 2, but a little foreshadowing maybe, as that is his 3rd interception off of Favre.
So the reigning Super Bowl MVP puts an exclamation point on the Arizona Cardinals' first victory of the season. Jackson's last interception came in the Super Bowl. He caught 2 from Rich Gannon. Signed as a free agent with the Cardinals, who had lost their last 4 meetings with the Packers. Last time the Cardinals beat Green Bay, 1985. They were based in St. Louis. Jim Hannafin was the head coach. Cardinals will run out the clock